What's good, you guys? You know who it is, man. This your boy, Mr. Relentless Lex, and I'm back like I never left this mother. Yes, Sirski. Hello, somebody. All right, so, man, we got Eric Dickerson, the old LA Rams running back. Great player, by the way. True legend, Hall of Famer. He's speaking on Deion Sanders' kids, especially like Shiloh and Shador. Shador, he's the supposedly backup quarterback for right now for the Cleveland Browns, and Shiloh is a safety for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they've both been slandered very hard in the past couple of weeks. Shiloh, he's been inside a physical altercation on the field with a Buffalo Bills, I believe it was, Buffalo Bills player. They got into an altercation on the field. Shiloh punches him, hits him in the helmet and the face mask and everything. Kind of turned his head a little bit, but I don't know. To me, it looked like it was a provoked move, right? Now we all trying to figure out, is this the NFL that's picking on Deion Sanders' kids and trying to humble the Sanders family? Or what's really going on here? And on the other's perspective, you got Shador. He had a good first game. Second game, he couldn't catch a block. He got sacked 5 times. He looked at trash. So now they're thinking neither one of the kids is going to probably have a long-term effect on the NFL or in the NFL. But that's what we're here for.
That the NFL told other, don't draft him. Do not draft him. We're gonna make an example out of
it. That the Buccaneers safety has gotten officially waived from the team. According to reports, this decision to waive Sanders was in connection to an on-field incident in which Sanders would end up striking opposing player.
I'm proud of my kids.
Hold on, let's take another look at that, bro. Let's take another look at that. Now, I don't know how it started, but let's examine this fight.
This decision to waive Sanders was in connection to an on-field incident in which Sanders would end up striking opposing player.
I'm proud.
The Buffalo Bills player was attacking him, by the way, from the looks of it. We just seen it on camera. To me, it looks like he was defending himself, bro. To me.
Of my kids, all of them. And I prepared my kids for any and everything that could possibly happen in life and in sports.
Eric Dickerson just exposed an ugly truth about Shiloh Sanders getting waived by the Buccaneers. And if what he's saying is true, it explains a lot about why Deion Sanders' sons keep catching hell from the NFL. In case you missed it, within the span of just 1 week, both Shiloh and Shador were in headlines for all the wrong reasons. Shiloh was ejected from a preseason game for swinging on another player, and then less than 24 hours later, the Bucs waived him. Meanwhile, Shador got beat.
Now, mind you, how many fights have we seen in the NFL? How many fights have we actually saw in the history of football with something that was way more critical than what Shiloh have done? Deion Sanders got into fights damn near every game when he was playing. A lot of people get into altercations on the football field for the whole entire game. I've seen guys go at it with competition with each other, with the pushing, the shoving, and the face mask for a whole entire game. This is crazy.
Down in a preseason game, sacked 5 times in basically one half, benched, and now on top of all that, the media is already pushing the narrative that Shador doesn't even deserve to be on the team.
Couple days, 3 days until roster cutdowns. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like you belong here on this team?
Obviously.
Now, to the casual fan, that just looks like 2 young players struggling to adjust to the league. But Eric Dickerson is saying something way bigger is going on behind the scenes. According to him, the league wanted this. He claims that the NFL is deliberately blackballing the Sanders family because they don't like the way Coach Prime moves, talks, and disrupts the system. And if you've been following football long enough, you already know that this fits a pattern. We've seen the league shut out players who don't fall in line. We've seen the inmates running the prison comments. We've seen the plantation vibes.
In a discussion about player protests during the national anthem, Houston Texans owner Bob McNair said, quote, "We can't have the inmates running the prison."
Whoa.
Excuse me?
So let's break down
That's
what happened with
crazy.
Shiloh, what's going on with Shador, what exactly Dickerson said, and how this all ties into the bigger, uglier truth about the NFL. All right, so let's start with Shiloh. This man was 24 hours away from playing his first regular season snap in the NFL, finally getting that shot every player dreams about. And he blows up in a preseason game with Bills tight end Zach Davidson. And Zach was seen grabbing Shiloh's face mask after the whistle. This could have easily been a penalty, or the ref could have stepped in, but that's not what happened. Instead, Shiloh threw a punch, and instantly, Zach turned on the victim mode. Now, fights like these aren't new. We've all seen players scrap in preseason,
That's what
in
I was
practice,
saying,
even
all
in
the
joint
time.
workouts. And usually, it's a fine or maybe a short suspension, and everybody moves on. But Shiloh received different treatment, and less than 24 hours later, he was waived by the Tampa Bay Bucks. And Tampa Bay coach Todd Bowles didn't even try to defend Shiloh. He addressed the incident after Tampa Bay's 23-19 loss, and all he had to say was that what Shiloh did was inexcusable. Meanwhile, he made no mention of Zach Davidson starting the altercation.
Exactly. Is this a puppet, bro? Are you a puppet for the people? You didn't even try to you see the video, my brother, the same way we seeing the video, my brother. Shiloh was bro, that's crazy. That is crazy. What money and power do to some people. Make them look away from what's really going on. That's not fair, bro. That is just crazy.
After that ejection.
Well, no, you can't throw punches in this league. I mean, that's inexcusable. They're gonna get you every time. Got to grow from that.
And then what did you say to the officials after that? It looked like you were possibly trying to argue with them.
We're talking about another play.
But see, the problem isn't Shiloh getting flagged.
Talking about another
it's the
play.
ref standing right there, watching Davidson committing unnecessary roughness on Shiloh way after the play was over, and no flag being thrown. And remember, this isn't the first time Shiloh's been punished heavily. Back at Colorado, he was ejected for targeting, which most fans felt was a terrible call. And now in the NFL, one bad preseason moment, and Shiloh's out the door for defending himself. Meanwhile, Zach Davidson.
Bro, that was a legal hit. That was shoulder pad to shoulder pad. I know you can't go helmet to helmet. We all know that, right? But this play right here, you guys. Take a look. It was shoulder pad to shoulder pad, bro. I swear, bro.
Time, Shiloh's been punished heavily. Back at Colorado.
Look. Let's try to capture it.
Remember, this isn't the first time Shiloh's been punished heavily. Back at Colorado.
Well, okay. On this angle right here, I can see his helmet inside the chest. But that's a clean hit to me, right? I know you're not supposed to hit helmet to helmet from concussion laws and reasons, of course. But his helmet is in his chest.
Colorado, he was ejected for targeting, which most fans felt was a terrible call. And now in the NFL, one bad preseason moment, and Shiloh's out the door for defending himself. Meanwhile, Zach Davidson wasn't even whistled for a penalty, which clearly should have happened long before Shiloh even threw his punch. And get this, Davidson later denied provoking Shiloh and claimed Shiloh just got mad for getting blocked. And even just the way reporters asked Davidson about the incident and framed it as if he had no part in that ejection. Yeah, the whole thing is so unfair, and you don't even have to be a Shiloh Sanders fan to see it.
To that moment with Shiloh where it felt like you kind of were just
he think it funny
play, and he just felt some sort of way about it.
Yeah, something on the backside of screens we preach is the guy on the backside is making the touchdown block. I was just chasing the far deep DB and trying to finish through the whistle, and he had a little bit more to say.
Did you say to him, "You're too small"?
I didn't say anything. I may have gestured something, but if you get mad for getting blocked, I can't really control what he does.
So knowing all this, you really can't blame fans for saying the NFL is sabotaging Shiloh on purpose, because none of this is making any sense. One fan on X said, very clearly a setup. The players were instructed to solicit an attack. The refs were instructed to wait for it. The ref watched the whole thing and only threw the flag once there was retaliation. And someone else wrote, the league is conspiring against that family. And it really does feel that way, because just days before this incident with Shiloh, his brother Shador was taken out of the Browns Browns' preseason game against the Rams in the final 2 minutes. It would have been the perfect moment for Shedeur to show how he handles late-game pressure. But Coach Kevin Stefanski decided to pull Shedeur and replace him with Tyler Huntley. And now people are accusing Coach Stefanski of sabotaging Shedeur and claiming this is all part of a bigger plot against the Sanders family. Someone on X said, Kevin Stefanski has pledged allegiance to Jim Crow to prove that Shedeur Sanders doesn't belong. Stefan's KKKE is choosing to be bold about it too. And someone else added, man, they've been made their decision before they drafted him. Go to a better organization, Sanders, please. Now you may be thinking, wait, didn't other organizations pass on Shedeur multiple times? Well, here's where Eric Dickerson steps in with his claims that the NFL has been conspiring against the Sanders family from the jump. Dickerson claimed that he heard from a very reliable source at the NFL that the league directly told teams not to draft Shedeur because they wanted to make an example out of him.
But what I heard from someone
that's crazy
in the NFL, that the NFL told other, don't draft him, do not draft him. We're gonna make an example out of him. And this came from a very good source, And he said that, I won't say who, somebody called the Cleveland Browns and said, don't do that. Draft
really?
him. Yep, draft him. Don't do that. Because they weren't going to draft him either. They weren't going to draft him.
And this isn't the first time we've heard this angle. Remember, Mike Florio also alluded to the NFL trying to humble Shedeur because he didn't bow down and kiss their ASS.
The fact that he shouldn't have been picked number 144, it's a subtle repudiation of the attitude that teams have when the draft rolls around.
Yeah.
That the players should all line up and bow down to the statue of the NFL draft.
Yep.
We're going to deify the draft because how dare you treat the process other than your lips on our ass. If you dare deviate from the process of your lips on our ass, you will pay for it.
He said like
Even
it is.
if it hurts us, because collectively and individually, we ignore the talent to send you a message so others will know when the time comes for the pre-draft process. Take your lips and put them on our ass. Because that's why he fell. He treated it like he was being recruited, not like he was being interviewed. Well, sucks for the teams that allowed that to keep them from drafting a guy who clearly is more talented than pick number 144.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's talent.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Sure.
People allowed all that other stuff to get in the way of the talent, and they want to send this kid a message because they don't want people to have power. So many of the threads, Chris, of all the stuff we're seeing now in the NFL is about power and about showing power to the players. The teams have the power. The league has the power. The players don't. When they try to show it, they're getting screwed.
Now, to be fair, not all fans agree with this. Some are saying that Eric Dickerson is not a reliable source, considering his own personal beef with the NFL. And then others are pointing out that Shedeur simply wasn't good enough, and there was no conspiracy against him. In fact, Daniel Kelly, a former NFL scout with the New York Jets, addressed this on X and even included a link to Shedeur's pre-drafting report. Kelly wrote in the caption, "I did the work on Shedeur Sanders pre-draft. I put an undraftable free agent grade on him. Bottom line, he wasn't good enough and he's not good enough. He didn't show the skill set or the mindset that's needed to transition to the NFL and be successful at the quarterback position. He hit his ceiling at Colorado. He's the most hesitant quarterback I've ever evaluated. He had more character red flags than any prospect I've ever evaluated. All the details, including all the game film evidence, the character stuff, all of it is in this pre-draft scouting report. And if you read the report, this is what it says about Shedeur. Tough, athletic, resilient, low-ceiling prospect with decent arm strength. Takes a while to get revved up in the games. Less confident against higher-ranked opponents. Goes into a shell. Couldn't speed up his process when necessary. Prone to fumbling snaps. Good behind the line of scrimmage mobility. Can reset the pocket. Eyes downfield. Poised. 1 to 2 reads. Inconsistent progressions. Tends to pat, lock, and release, telegraphing the timing and ball location. Limited trust in receivers. Hesitation is ingrained in him. Questionable how well he sees the field. But some fans are still convinced that this isn't just about Shedeur not being good enough, and they're claiming the NFL clearly has an agenda against the Sanders family. And it looks like a lot of people believe this is tied to Deion and the way he raised his sons to know their value. One fan commented, "As a Black Marine Corps veteran and single father who raised the son from the South, For me, it is a tale as old as time. It is a systemic epidemic of white America to take issue with any black man who is present and active in their children's lives and shows them how to be confident and view themselves as equal to white men. It is clear to anyone at this point the obvious actions of implicit bias and microaggressions, along with the blind bias being used by the NFL to derail the success of these young kings. This is not new. History would definitely repeat itself again sooner than later. I would love to see accountability for their actions, but I won't hold my breath. Now, the good news is that Deion is not letting this get to him. When asked about Shiloh getting waived, Deion said he's not worried because his sons will be good regardless, with or without the NFL. But now I want to hear your thoughts on all this. Do you think the NFL is really setting up the Sanders?
All I could do is shake my head on this one, man. Shake my freaking head on this one because it's clear, man. It's clear. Now, I know primetime, Mr. Deion Sanders, a.k.a. Carucci's boo thing, bro. He's a smack talker, okay. And I know the kids, the apple don't fall too far from the tree, and they're smack talkers too, maybe. But it's called confidence. It's not being cocky, bro. It's not being cocky. It's called confidence. You got to look at these kids for their skill levels. Compare them to the rest of the draft. They should have got drafted in a more sooner round. I wouldn't say first or second or something like that, maybe, but at least a little bit sooner. And man, they are doing a number on the Sanders family right now. The NFL is totally doing a number. And you know, Jay-Z has a part to play in the NFL. He's not even speaking up for the Sanders family, bro. And I think Jay-Z, he said it himself that he's a Cowboy fan. So he grew up watching Deion Sanders. Even though he's from New York, it was an interview he did. If I'm not mistaken, he said he was a Cowboy fan because his dad was a Cowboy fan. And he should know how primetime is. Bro, can somebody tell us what is so bad about the Sanders? What is it because of those attitudes that they have? The Sanders, the attitude, what is it? Why do they hate the Sanders boys and the dad so much, bro? Is it the talent, the money, the notoriety in the culture of football? Or what? What could it possibly be? This is just totally a disgrace, man. Everybody is excited for football this season. I'm an Eagles fan, as you can tell. But this is putting a bad taste in my mouth for football on this season. Because I was really looking forward to seeing the success of these two young kids this year in football. Now take a look at what's going on. NFL must tighten up a little bit.